Today is Friday, October 11th. We'll tell you about the aftermath of Hurricane Milton after it ripped through the state of Florida, and what scientists say is causing storms to become more powerful. Also, which bank just received the largest financial penalty for money laundering American authorities have ever handed out. Plus, Tesla's big reveal of its Robotaxi, which tennis legend is calling it quits, and a once-in-a-lifetime chance to catch a nighttime spectacle in the sky this weekend. Those stories and even more news to know coming up. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. Well, people throughout the state of Florida are picking up the pieces after Hurricane Milton. It made landfall near Sarasota on the Gulf Coast Wednesday night and kept up hurricane-force winds as it cut through the state as a Category 1 storm before moving offshore into the Atlantic. Reports say more than a dozen people in the path of destruction died. Dozens of tornadoes touched down in central and eastern parts of the state, killing several people and destroying an estimated 150 homes. And the death toll from this storm is expected to rise as rescue and relief operations continue in some of the hardest hit areas. Coastal communities and barrier islands were severely impacted from storm surge, and record-breaking rainfall left inland towns flooded. Though the densely populated Tampa Bay region appeared to have been spared from the worst-case scenarios that were projected before the storm hit. Still, there was plenty of damage. Like the roof of Tropicana Field in Tampa was ripped off, and a crane in St. Petersburg crashed into the building where the Tampa Bay Times is located, though no one was in the building at the time, so no one was hurt. Overall, Hurricane Milton was deadly and destructive and impacted many people, though officials still say it wasn't as bad as it could have been. At last check, more than 2.5 million homes and businesses are still without power in Florida. Well, after two intense storms in less than 2 weeks, scientists have been looking at what made these storms so powerful. And they say record high temperatures in the Gulf of Mexico gave energy to these hurricanes. Surface temperatures averaged in the upper 80s, which essentially is like bathwater. The temperatures helped turn Milton into a Category 5 storm out in the Gulf in less than a day. And it wasn't just water at the surface affecting the storm. Usually a hurricane churns up cooler, deeper water as it develops over the ocean, which can help reduce the storm's intensity. But this time, even the deep water in the Gulf was warm, so it just made these storms even stronger. Scientists say climate change is fueling the record temperatures in the Gulf, a phenomenon they expect to get worse in the years ahead. A dozen tourists were rescued in Colorado after being trapped in an old gold mine for hours. The mine no longer operates, but it still gives tours. And when an elevator malfunctioned, one person died and several others were hurt. Those people were rescued first. 12 others were stuck at the bottom, 1,000 feet underground, while workers tried to figure out if the elevator could still be used to bring them up. Officials made it clear the mine did not collapse. As of now, there's no information on what exactly went wrong with the elevator, and it's still not clear how exactly the person died. The Molly Kathleen Gold Mine is located near Pikes Peak and the town of Cripple Creek in Colorado. It's the biggest financial penalty for money laundering American authorities have ever handed out. TD Bank pleaded guilty to laundering money for drug cartels and will have to pay $3 billion to the U.S. government. Part of the penalties also include an asset cap, so the bank cannot get any bigger than it is right now. Federal authorities said the bank made it easy for criminals to transfer money, even large amounts, in some cases hundreds of millions of dollars. And employees took bribes from cartels mainly based in Colombia, but also some from other companies. The bribes bought employee silence as the cartels moved money around various accounts and traded drug money for bank checks. Employees were pretty brazen about these crimes, with one sending a message that read, "You guys really need to shut this down, LOL." At another point, one employee worried about a transaction asked, quote, "How is that not money laundering?" The response? Oh, it 100% is. TD Bank is based in Canada, but has more than 1,000 U.S. branches, mostly on the East Coast. It's the 10th biggest bank in the U.S. In a move that surprised the literary world, the Nobel Committee awarded the prize in literature to 53-year-old South Korean novelist Han Kang. She's the first South Korean to win the award and the first woman to win a Nobel this year. Kang wasn't even on the radar of those who try to guess who would win this year's prize, which is notoriously difficult to predict. She's been publishing poetry and fiction since the early 90s, but Kang didn't get widespread attention in the English-speaking world until her novel, The Vegetarian, was translated in 2015. That book went on to win several major prizes. The committee praised her intense prose and historical perspective that she brings to her work. Kang's win comes toward the end of Nobel announcement week. This morning, the winner of the Nobel Peace Prize will be named. All right, we have more news for you still ahead, but first, thanks to our sponsor. I launched this podcast and the business behind it nearly 7 years ago at this point, and I've learned that running a growing business means getting the insights you need where you are. So if you want to start a business or you're already years in like me, Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. Seriously, you can launch with it, and then no matter how big you want to grow, Shopify gives you everything you need to take that business to the next level. No wonder Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the US. And Shopify's the global force behind Allbirds, Rothy's, and Brooklinen, and millions of other entrepreneurs of every size across 175 countries. In fact, even as a customer, I often notice my favorite brands and companies using Shopify at checkout. And I so appreciate how easy the process is from that side as well. So it just continues to build trust with customers. And there's nothing that means more to me and this business than gaining and keeping listener and customer trust. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout brands like Allbirds, Skims, Mattel, and many more use. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/newsworthy, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/newsworthy to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/newsworthy. Now back to the news. Another major player is getting into the quickly growing robo-taxi space. Tesla CEO Elon Musk unveiled the company's new autonomous vehicle last night. It's called the Cybercab, and it features 2 doors, no steering wheel, and no pedals. Tesla also announced the Robo-Van, a large shuttle van Musk said could seat up to 20 people. Unlike other autonomous vehicles, these use cameras and AI to analyze the driving environment, instead of more expensive laser-based systems that physically detect obstacles and nearby objects. That said, the Cybercab is just a prototype at this point. Production won't start until 2026. And even some of Tesla's own investors have raised concerns about whether the company can pull off fully self-driving cars, especially since Musk said 5 years ago a fleet of self-driving cars was only 1 year away. But it's yet another sign of how many of the biggest tech and car companies in the country are betting on autonomous vehicles. Tennis legend Rafael Nadal is calling it quits on an incredible career. The Spanish player posted a video saying he'll retire from the sport after representing his country in the Davis Cup next month. His record-setting career included 22 Grand Slam titles, the second most ever in the men's game. And that total includes a remarkable 14 French Open wins, which earned him a statue in Paris, France, outside where the tournament is played. Nadal also won 2 Olympic gold medals and the Davis Cup 4 times. In his prime, Nadal was known for his athleticism, strength, and total dominance on clay courts. But Nadal is now 38 years old, and in the past few years, injuries have forced him to miss time and prevented him from reaching top form. Other tennis players, including longtime rival Roger Federer, paid tribute to Rafa, as he's known. Federer called it an honor to play against him. Here's your reminder that Monday is a federal holiday, so you may have a long weekend coming up. Although, depending on where you live, it's commemorated differently. Traditionally, it's Columbus Day, marking Christopher Columbus's first voyage to America in 1492. But increasingly, it's also known as Indigenous Peoples Day. Only 16 states still call the October holiday Columbus Day exclusively, while hundreds of towns and cities have transitioned to Indigenous Peoples Day. In 2021, the Biden administration recognized both names for the holiday at the federal level. And this holiday began as a celebration of the man many thought discovered America, but over the years, it's been recognized more and more that wasn't true. Of course, Indigenous peoples and their ancestors have been living on the land now known as North America for thousands of years before the first European explorers arrived. So some argue Columbus represents mass genocide and white supremacy. Other groups, including some Italian Americans, say Columbus Day is a way to celebrate their cultural and ethnic heritage. Regardless, you can expect government offices, including the post office, to be closed on Monday, along with most banks, libraries, and at least some workplaces and schools. Stargazers have a chance to see a rare sight this weekend. A bright comet from the edge of the solar system will make its closest approach to Earth Saturday night. It's the brightest comet of the year, and it should be visible through the end of the month. The comet, called Chuchen-Shan Atlas, can be seen by the naked eye, but astronomers recommend binoculars or a telescope to get a better view. And you'll never get another opportunity to see this particular comet. Astronomers estimate the comet visits Earth once every 80,000 years, though it may never actually come back if gravity pulls it out of orbit. On top of that, no other comet this bright is expected to pass close to our planet in the near future. Your best bet for seeing it is getting out about half an hour after sunset this weekend, then scan low in the sky close to the western horizon where the sun has gone down. If you're lucky, you may catch a glimpse of this once-in-a-lifetime nighttime spectacle. That's it for the main news today, so now it's time for Feel Good Friday, when we bring you one extra feel-good or positive news story before the weekend. But first, a quick break. Lumen is the world's first handheld metabolic coach. It's a device that measures your metabolism through your breath. As I've been using it, I've learned so much about how my metabolism and body works, and I love how easy and fun Lumen is to use. Again, all you have to do is breathe into your Lumen first thing in the morning, and you'll see what's going on with your metabolism. Then on the app, it lets you know if you're burning fat or carbs and gives you tailored guidance to improve your nutrition, workout, sleep, and even stress management. You can also breathe into it before and after workouts and meals, so you get real-time data and recommendations. Your metabolism is actually your body's engine. It's how your body turns the food you eat into fuel that keeps you going. This is the type of technology that used to only be available to top athletes in clinics, but now Lumen makes lab-level metabolic testing accessible. So if you want to take the next step in improving your health, go to lumen.me/newsworthy to get 15% off your Lumen. That's lumen.me/newsworthy for 15% off your purchase. Thank you, Lumen, for sponsoring this episode. Okay, now back to Feel Good Friday. India is taking big steps to empower blind women in the country, and they're saving lives doing it. A program in the country trains blind women to become medical tactile examiners, or MTEs. Then they perform breast exams on women to help identify early signs of cancer. Breast exams are still somewhat taboo in India, especially for younger women, but with almost 20% of breast cancer being diagnosed in those under 50, it's especially important for women to receive exams. If detected early enough, 9 in 10 patients will survive the disease. The idea started in 2006, when a German gynecologist thought blind women might be able to develop a heightened sense of touch with training. He started a program called Discovering Hands, which teaches blind MTEs around the world. It's taken off in India, where only 5% of the country's 15 million blind women are able to earn a living. And research has shown that MTEs detect more cancers compared to doctors who perform exams without them. So the program is helping women gain confidence and provide for themselves, while also identifying a serious yet treatable disease. So it's a win-win. Thank you so much for listening today. We'll be back tomorrow with our special edition Saturday episode, where I have a great conversation with our expert guest about what's been called a loneliness epidemic in America. We talk about why it's happening and how it's impacting younger people for the first time, and what we can all do to make more friends and deeper connections. Then we're off on Monday due to the federal holiday, but we'll be back to catch you up with another news roundup on Tuesday. For now, have a great weekend.